What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another exciting personal finance video. I'm talking about gold today. Guys, I'm super excited. I got my 1 ounce gold coin. I'm super excited to show you guys. But first, if you guys are new to this channel, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out my website, My Road to Wealth and Freedom. The link will be down there and below. Also, quick disclaimer, this channel is for information and educational purposes only. So any of the stocks or, buying precious metals or personal finance strategies that I discuss, that's what I do for me. It may not be appropriate for everyone else. So please do your own research and seek the advice of a financial advisor before making any investment decision. Okay, guys. Well, we had a huge sell-off in gold last week. I'm sure if you're watching this, you guys all know about it because the Fed came out and on their little dot plot, it said, some of them were thinking about pulling forward an interest rate hike from 2024, 3 years away, to 2023, which is about 2 years away. My own thoughts on this, and this is, do with it what you will. These guys are so full of it. They're out of ammunition. They're trying to talk down inflation by, raising the specter of an interest rate hike 2 years out when we're seeing, pretty high inflation prints, 5%. This is like they're, they kind of cook the books with the CPI. Anytime it gets above, any level, they're always trying to do all these shenanigans with it. If you guys haven't heard of this guy, his name is John Williams. He has a website called Shadow Stats. Check it out, shadowstats.com. He goes through and calculates the CPI. They've over time they've made changes to the CPI. He calculates it in 1980 terms and in 1990 terms, I believe. And his numbers are showing at least 10%, 12%. I think his 1980 number was about 12, 13%. And the 1990 number was about 8 or 9% or something like that. Those are more believable numbers. I mean, I've noticed it myself. Like, I haven't gotten like a lot of great pay raises the past couple years, and I can see like I get my pay stub. I look, it's like slightly less than what I was making, the year before and that. And it's for a variety of reasons. There's more deductions. There's more cost of benefits. Everything's always going up. And this is, the creeping effects of inflation that can really ruin us. That's why you need to be investing to preserve your purchasing power from the effects of that inflation. The problem that we have today is that with this kind of inflation, it is really tough. Long term, the stock market's supposed to return on average 10% over like I think 100 years or something like that. When we're seeing this type of high inflation, just a general S&P index or whatever, you're probably gonna, you'll be lucky to just preserve your purchasing power. You might lose a little, but maybe say not as much as holding cash, which is going to obviously erode much quicker. Things like commodities and precious metals are good spots. Sometimes real estate, although I just feel like residential real estate may not be all that it's cracked up to be. We're in a highly, highly, highly levered system here. The past year we've had housing prices around the world reach record highs. The US is where it was right around where it crashed in 2007. Canada and Australia, we're at like, I don't know, it's just crazy. The Canadian market, the Australian market, housing prices are absolutely insane. And the problem is it used to be localized to like a few, the Vancouver and, Toronto. Now it's spreading all over the place. You're getting like places, far-flung place like Alberta, the real estate, that's not a far-flung place, but I'm saying like Alberta, the real estate was in dire straits for almost a decade with the oil price crash and stuff. That's rising, like places like the Maritimes, where houses have traditionally been like really, really cheap. It's just, they've almost doubled. Quebec, certain areas of Quebec, it's just insane. And I again, like I'm not really sure. Like my struggle, I guess, the past year is kind of, is this a bubble? Because it would seem to be, yes, yeah, for sure, it's a bubble. But with the increase in money supply, you know, handing out free money to everybody through CERB, and, you know, in the US through like, you know, the pandemic and generous unemployment benefits and all that stuff, you know, or is it just inflated money supply equals inflated prices? It might be a bit of both. I'm not quite sure. I'm still preparing for kind of both eventualities, both scenarios. But yeah, so I just see, you know, it's just a really, really risky time, and it's really hard to invest because, you know, if you want to put your money into the market or into commodities, you know, if we get a deflationary bust, I mean, you could kind of lose it all. On the other hand, if you just try to hold tight in cash or in bonds or whatever, I mean, again, like, you know, if the money supply is increasing, you know, at a rapid pace, you will be rapidly losing purchasing power in a matter of years. Before it was, you know, it would take like 25 years or something like that to lose half the purchasing power at a 2% rate or something like that. You know, at 10%, I mean, it might be 5 years. At like, you know, 15 or 20, it could be like a year or two. So yeah, these are kind of worrisome times. I personally think there's just like almost 300 trillion in debt worldwide. We're facing a demographic cliff of all these old gray, like the graying population. It's a North American, European, and even Asian phenomenon we see in China and Japan, the mature economies, things like South Korea and stuff like that. This is a really big problem. And I'm not sure that we can really kind of grow our way out of this demographic cliff, basically. So the big picture, you know, we're over levered. There's too much debt in the system, and we have horrible demographics. That would suggest, you know, deflation. We're in for a big bust. And against that, you have central banks around the world. They're printing money like crazy, which would suggest, you know, some sort of inflation, possibly even hyperinflation. But what I find really telling is Janet Yellen the other day came out and had to calm and assure the people that, what did she say? Don't worry, the U.S. is not in danger, or we're not worried about hyperinflation. And I thought to myself, that's like, when's the last time you heard a Treasury Secretary, former Fed chairman, whatever, come out and say something like that? We are definitely headed for a really, really bad time, I think. I'm trying to, you know, do the right thing, as I hope all you are doing. Get out of debt. If you have debt, try to pay it off as much as possible, or try to refinance and lock in at these low rates. Start a side hustle, and just kind of get prepared. I just think this is not going to end very well at all. And if you're worried about, you know, really high inflation or hyperinflation, then you should be picking up stuff like, you know, silver and gold, maybe some commodity ETFs or something. Yeah, and I just think like residential real estate, it doesn't really seem to be like, I'm not sure if I'd be investing in that even. Especially when you hear all the horror shows, right? You go to evict tenants, they trash your place, they don't pay you for a while. This isn't like 20 years ago when nobody was in the real estate game, or very few people. And there was actually, you know, you could actually, you know, make a decent amount, get a decent return on your money. I feel like what's happening now is people are just throwing money at anything and everything and hoping for a winner. And also against that backdrop, I saw there's a big developer in Toronto. They're going to purchase about $1 billion worth of Canadian real estate all across the country. In the US, we saw BlackRock buying up entire neighborhoods of single family homes to use as rental properties. Again, you know, for these big corporations and that, they're borrowing at 0%. If they get in trouble, the central bank is going to bail them out. For the average guy like you and me, we are going to buy these houses, and if we get in trouble, no one's going to bail us out. The bank is going to repossess the property, and we can stand to lose quite a bit. More and more, we're seeing this all around. You know how there's just like an uneven playing field. It is what it is. Call a spade a spade. You know, these too big to fail banks, corporations, whatever, investment houses. You know, they get free money, and the rest of us have to pay, you know, a certain level of interest, even if it is low, even if it is 3%. Well, I'd rather pay 0 than 3. And if I get in trouble, I'd rather the government bail me out than, you know, but we don't have that luxury. So it's an extremely dangerous time. You know, crypto, I saw Bitcoin was sinking again today because of the renewed Chinese crackdown on the miners. There's just a lot of uncertainty. We get these the Basel III rules coming into effect, which may or may not affect physical gold. I'm not sure. Some people say it will, some people say it won't. My thoughts is that gold will probably continue to just kind of perform as we've seen. Maybe it will go up a little bit. I'm not sure until we get some sort of reckoning where it's really apparent. But what I want to say, and I was reading a little bit more about what happened in Turkey last year. If you guys can remember, we saw these headline articles. You know, Turks were selling their cars to buy gold. They were selling their homes to buy gold, just trying to get out of the Turkish lira, which was crashing. And more recently, you know, well, probably around the same time and continuing to this day, we're seeing the same thing in Lebanon with their currency crashing. And it got me thinking, you know what, this is what's going to happen. Like what we saw in Turkey, I feel like is almost like a microcosm of what we're going to see worldwide. Currencies today around the world are backed by nothing, and you have every major economy printing money like crazy, including China. You know, they're wrestling with, you know, over-leveraged system, a huge debt bubble, property bubbles, and, you know, they're doing everything that they can. Everybody's, you know, kind of scrambling here. And it got me thinking, you know, this is what we're probably going to see with these currencies in the future. Just as, you know, common Turks were selling their possessions to try to acquire, you know, precious metals to preserve their purchasing power. That's what we're going to see around the world. People are going to be scrambling for things like gold and silver. And what's that going to look like? You're not going to be able to find it. So again, I'm not really an alarmist. I don't want to sound like crazy, which is kind of funny to say because all you hear from politicians nowadays is how crazy, like just stuff that we've never seen. Yellen saying, don't worry about hyperinflation and just all the craziness that we've seen. But these are really, really extraordinary times, to say the least. And they're actually quite scary if you can kind of think through, you know, the consequences, where we could be heading. Definitely you want to be diversified, I think. And if you don't own any physical gold and silver, you should for sure, I think, go out and put a couple coins away. If for no other reason than you know, just to have a little bit of diversification. I'm not saying go put your life savings into it, but I've taken it really seriously. I know there's billionaires. The wealthy are actually putting money into physical gold and silver. You know, I think that's very telling as to how much they actually trust the whole system. We know there's a lot of shenanigans that have been happening in the metals markets and the futures and paper markets trying to suppress the price. And I'm just concerned that, you know, governments can lose control. We've seen this time and time again in history. They think, you know, their plan falls apart. There's black swan events, unexpected things happening. Right now we're told that this inflation is transitory. And I kind of see their point. You know, I can kind of believe that. Hey, yeah, we had, you know, a really horrible last year. You know, we had negative CPI and stuff like that last year. It only makes sense that, you know, we're going to see some sort of correction versus last year. You know, when you're at a low base, it makes sense. You're going to see a higher inflation print. The question is that the supply chains are still messed up. Also, I can think too, you know, people aren't going to be getting all this free money. You know, a lot of the unemployment benefits, the CERB, all this stuff, this is all kind of coming to an end. Moratorium on evictions is being lifted. We're kind of getting back to normal. And this is where I think the emperor has no clothes type thing. I don't think that there's a lot of savings. I don't think that people, you know, I think people are in arrears on their rent, on their mortgage payments, on whatever. I don't think they've been diligently paying off their debt and, you know, doing the right stuff. It's never that way. So my point is, I do see the deflation argument, hence why I'm building cash to pay my mortgage off. But I'm also trying to hedge out, you know, potentially high inflation or even a currency collapse by getting into, you know, the commodities and the metals. So I've gone on long enough. I'm sure you guys know where I stand. I'm sure you guys are doing what you need to do to prepare. Without further ado, I finally broke down and I got this new coin. This is a 1 ounce 2021 gold Kangaroo from the Perth Mint. $100 face value, the queen on the back, and you get the Kangaroo. This is just an incredibly beautiful coin. Each coin comes in a capsule direct from the Perth Mint, so there's no scratching, fingerprints, or any of that stuff. You know, I know with the maples and the buffaloes, sometimes you might get a little ding here and there, you know, because they come in tubes, and then they dump the tube out, and then sometimes it can 24 karat gold scratches really, really easily, guys. So anyways, I'm really happy to pick this up and showcase it. Picked it up from Silver Gold Bull. You can check it out. I get the link down in the description. Guys, just want to say, you know, they price match. So often what I do, I find a really great price at wherever. And then I'll, you know, call them up and say, hey, you know what, this coin shop has it for this price, and or Kitco has it, or whatever. And the reason I do that is shipping through Silver Gold Bull is free. It's insured shipping over $500, I think. It's fast too. You get it in a few days. Whereas some of the other places I've gotten gold from in the past, it takes, you know, a little bit of time. You got to pay. They want their, you know, if you don't send like an EFT or something like that, you got to do by bill payments, and it takes time for that to clear, and it takes time for you to get it in your hand. So in these crazy times, the sooner you can get it in your hand, the better. I actually got to go to, I just want to say to you guys, you don't want to really store too much gold in that at home. I've been putting coins and stuff away in a safe deposit box. I highly recommend that, and you might consider even getting some insurance on it if you have, you know, quite a bit. I don't really have a ton, but nonetheless, you do want that insurance. So I'm going to add this to the top of my pyramid here. It's a beautiful coin. I'm really happy. Also, what I noticed is in terms of thickness, I'll try to, this is a Canadian maple here. It's slightly larger than the maple. The maple is just like, it seems just almost like a hair thicker. It's really hard to see on video. But yeah, anyways, two beautiful coins. It has the Perth Mint mark. I'm not really sure if it has any security features. I just bought it for, I don't know for what reason, just to get another ounce, and it's just such a beautiful coin. I saw they had some in stock, and I decided to snatch one up. I also purchased an additional ounce. This is a really beautiful coin. I don't know when I'll get that, but oh no, it's the Klondike Gold Rush. It's like a picture of a hand panning for gold, and the little drop of water comes out, and it's like a gold maple in that. Anyways, it's really, really beautiful. I'm for sure going to showcase that. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please, if you haven't done so already, like the video, subscribe to my channel, check out my website, My Road to Wealth and Freedom. I just threw up my passive income report. And that's kind of how I try to fund this. You know, you make passive income online. You can funnel some of that into real stuff like silver, gold. I'm not like killing it by any means, but at the same time, you know, every little extra dollar helps, especially if you can save it. if it's money not accounted for in your budget, I consider it all kind of surplus. So it usually just goes into like some investments and that. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and keep on stacking.